Hi FlossTube, it's Abby. Welcome to the premiere episode of Bellastitch Off the Grid Monday, The Hangover. The show is a spin-off of Michelle Garrett, Bellastitch's Off the Grid Sunday Brunch, which is a spin-off of Ginger Gerald's Off the Grid Saturday the After Party, which is a spin-off of Caroline's Friday Off the Grid Party. So welcome. It's December 18. Is it December 18? It's December 18. It's Monday. We have a week till Christmas. So I hope you're ready if you celebrate Christmas. It is also the 6th day of Hanukkah. Am I saying that right? Hanukkah? Yeah, I think I'm saying it right. Maybe. If I pronounce that right, I'm sorry. Let me know how to pronounce it properly if I was not able to do so. Alright. I will try not to say too much. Number 1. Number 2, I will be working on Matter's Choice by Carriage House Samplings. I will be stitching this. My fabric is 36 count aged saffron. I'm not sure who makes aged saffron, but it is the fabric I used for Mary Mac. So I like how Mary Mac turned out. Let me adjust the light. Mary Mac was done with 2/2 DMC. Yes, this is 36 count, and yes, 2/2 looks really nice. The light's too bright. Alright, that's much better. And Jessica's Schoolhouse Stitcher, look, I fixed it. I showed this on a video a few months ago and she spotted an error. So I fixed the error she spotted, posted a photo on Instagram, and she spotted another error. I had missed one of the stitches here, so I really appreciated that. She let me know. Well, one, that she spotted it, and then 2, she let me know, because that would have been a horrible discovery if I had found it after it had been framed already. So anyway, I like how this looks. I think Mary Mac could live in that house and they could be together. So I had what was this? A fat quarter. I used some for Mary, and the rest will be used for this house on Matter's Choice. Unfortunately, I would have preferred a larger margin, but that's all I have, so that's what I'm gonna end up. I think that's around 2.5 inches. That's plenty. That's plenty for framing. It's not like I have like a 1/4 inch to spare. So I started in the upper left, which is my preferred starting point. I had been trying to copy Nicole and starting on the bottom right, which just my brain doesn't function that way, and I would end up flipping my chart and the fabric over and stitching it that way anyway, which is fine. Like, then I see the chart, I see the design grow differently. But for this project, I decided to just do it this way. Now, I'm also not in my regular stitching spot. I am upstairs in my craft room. So I don't have my Lowry, but I can still stitch two-handed, hopefully. So let's give this a go. Do I need to? Yeah, right. Okay, so while I'm stitching, I thought I would do some trivia for you guys. We're gonna do some Filipino trivia. I am from the Philippines. And in case you didn't know where the Philippines is in Southeast Asia. Yeah, look at the map. We're south of Taiwan, southeast of mainland Asia, north of Indonesia and Malaysia. If you don't know where those are, we're north of Australia, way north of Australia. Let's see, hang on, I need my Thread Heaven. I do use Thread Heaven for cotton fibers and silks. Actually, I use Thread Heaven for everything except HDF. Now, here's a tip. You can break up your Thread Heaven cube and just use break them up to little balls. Actually, this is still a bit big. Because I do that to keep as much of the Thread Heaven clean. Because when you run your floss through the Thread Heaven will pick up any of the fuzzies on your floss. So just run that once, and you keep a separate ball for dark floss and a separate ball of Thread Heaven for white and ecru and beige and all of that. Now I have this cute little locket needle minder from Terran. I also have little containers. I don't have one handy at the moment. I used to sell them, but now you can get them from Tanyas. Oh shoot, what's Tanyas? Tanya has an Etsy store. Tanyas Stitching Room. Tanyas Sewing Room. Something. I will link it below. And the needle I'm using is a 26 Bowen. I used to use 28s for everything. Except I recently saw, and yes, I lick my floss. I don't Thread Heaven all the way because I lick my floss. I don't need to add Thread Heaven to my diet. The reason why I use size 26 is I recently read an article, and I forget who wrote the article, but let me scooch over. They interviewed Susan Greening Davis, who, if you don't know who Susan Greening Davis is, she is the MC for the Saturday night dinner at Celebration, and she's also a teacher. She's a needlework teacher. She's taking classes all over the world. She learned a Sissy style in freaking Italy. Like, she hosts stitching cruises, I think. Yes, she does. She hosts classes everywhere. I have not had the opportunity to take one of her classes, but I would love to one day. Anyway, she says stitchers often use the wrong size needle. Stitchers use a needle that's way too small. And referring to the size 28, which is what I used to use all the time, no matter what fabric count I was stitching on. And she said if you use a needle that's too small, you are not opening up the weave of the fabric enough so that your floss can go through cleanly. So you end up shredding your floss much sooner, and it doesn't have to be that way. So anyway, I tried it, because why not? Something new to try. And it totally worked. So now I've been using either a size 26 or a size 24, depending on the weave of the fabric, for most of my projects. I will still use size 28 for my 40 count projects. So yeah. Okay, let's get started. Oh, when I start a new cut of floss, what do? I poke my fabric from the front, usually about, this lighting's not gonna work. Usually about 3 to 4 stitches away from where I intend to start. And then I start with a diagonal method. So let me count here for a second. 1, 2, and then we'll continue with the trivia. 1, 2. Okay, so that's my starting point. We'll start with a diagonal pin stitch. I will pull my floss through, and I will leave a tail about that size. Why? Because sometimes the first leg of the diagonal pin stitch is stubborn and does not want to cooperate. So I will then pull on that tail to straighten out my first leg. And I pull on it anyway, just so I know that stitch is taut and laying flat and not puckering up. Okay, and there you go, there's the first stitch. So there's my first stitch. Oh, make sure. Oh, and then I stitch in the well. I know most of you, there's my party pants, stitch on this side of the Q-snap. I stitch on the other side. Why? Because it exposes more fabric in the back, and it's easier for me to tuck my ends in when it's time to end the floss. Alright, next. Maybe I should have brought up my Lowry. Okay. Anyway, back to trivia. So the Philippines has 7,107 islands. Yes, that's a lot of islands. However, only 2,000 islands are inhabited. A lot of the islands are just really rocks, right? Basically, big rocks. Some of them disappear during high tide. And then there's an area called the 100 Islands, which is in the northern group of islands. And it's very pretty. It's on the South China Sea. And I'll try to post pictures if I can find decent pictures. And not all those islands have beaches, but there are some that have awesome beaches. I remember going to one called Children's Island. Called that because the water is shallow, even during high tide, and there's a nice beach. Now to get there, you would have to, from the mainland, obviously, you'd have to hire a boat, which is a boat in the Philippines. Well, the rich people have their yachts and stuff. Most people ride what is basically a big canoe with an engine. And it works. Depending on the size, it'll hold anywhere from 2 people to whatever, 30 people. So you go there and you can spend a day. It's fun. There are a lot of beaches, obviously. One of the most famous ones is Boracay, which is in the central group of islands. I've been there once. The sand is powder soft, super fine. It's white. The other beaches have dark sand. It's just powder soft and beautiful. However, it's become like quite the tourist trap, so it's best to go off season. All right, next trivia. So the Philippines was colonized by Spain for like 300, 400 years, quite a long time. So unlike most of Asia, the Philippines is mostly Christian. I think 90%, oh, that's wrong. 90% of the population are Christians. So lots of churches, most private schools are Christian. There's really a pathetic attempt at separation of church and state. It almost doesn't exist, really. But, oh well. It's still very common to have names that's Maria something or Jose something. A lot of the last names are Spanish. And our food is also heavily Spanish influenced. Tangled up. And let's see. And then war happened, and America rescued the Philippines from the Japanese. public schools were established. Well, we also have the oldest universities, or one of the oldest universities, like older than Harvard. I'm not sure what the exact dates were, but I remember reading about that. Now, since the country is mostly Christian, there's still no divorce in the Philippines. You can get an annulment, but that is quite the process, which is ridiculous. It's not like not having divorce makes people more faithful. So, but that's too much politics and religion together, so we'll skip that. Next, okay, so fun fact. Filipinos love basketball. I don't care for sports myself, but it seems like the rest of the country just loves basketball. There is like a basketball hoop on every street, and people go nuts over the games. Both like the local games and the NBA games. Wait, where am I now? My father was not interested in it, but both my grandparents, both my grandfathers were. My maternal grandparents lived with us eventually, and so if it was a game night, forget it. My grandfather's watching basketball, and it doesn't matter if the show you want to watch is going to be on. You can't watch it because he's watching. And we only had one TV. And then my paternal grandparents, their farm was off the grid. Not by choice, but, you know, it's the third world. When they started the farm, the town they were in wasn't set up yet for electricity. Yes, this was in the 80s. So my grandfather couldn't watch basketball when he was at the farm. So what he would do was he would take the bus to the city during the big games and stay overnight at the Days Inn, get a room, and watch his basketball. So that's dedication for you, alright? I'm not into sports, and thank goodness my husband's not into sports. I watched the Olympics. That's about it. I don't. Whatever. That's me. That has nothing to do with the Philippines. Alright. Next. Filipinos love texting. I had my first phone a Nokia 55 something. When did I get that thing? 96 or 97? And back then, texting was free, unlimited texting. People didn't really have a cell phone plan. They just bought prepaid cards. So why pay for a phone call when you can just text for free? So the network would often go down because people were texting too much. And at one point, there were more text messages sent in the Philippines than all of the countries in Europe combined. I'm not so much into texting anymore. I actually, when I got my phone here in America, I actually had my phone company turn off. I had them deactivate texting on my phone because my mom and sister insisted on texting me daily, and they would send me the stupidest messages. You know those forwarded messages? They'd send me those. And like 25 cents or 35 cents a pop. I'm like, unless you're paying for my cell phone bill, no. So no. Okay, 1, 2. But yeah, people text. It's the main form of communication. Next thing Filipinos love, shopping malls. Shopping malls are closing in America. Shopping malls are alive and well in the Philippines. Mostly because it's air conditioned. It's too darn hot to be outside all the time. So everybody flocks to the mall. We don't have, a lot of the malls are like ridiculously huge. Everything's at the mall. Shopping's at the mall. Food is at the mall. There's a chapel, like, go talk to Jesus at the mall. Doctor's offices are at the malls. Movie theater. There's usually a grocery store attached to the mall. And yeah, everything's at the mall. There used to be a lot of cross-stitch stores at the mall. I don't think they're as popular anymore. I know DMC still has shops in a few of the SM malls. I'm not sure exactly the locations, but there used to be one at the Mega Mall in Mandaluyong. And I don't know if it's still there. Filipinos? Is the DMC shop still there? Alright, I need to... Alright, that's fine. 1, 2... Okay. Next... Filipinos love beauty pageants. Every town, every village, everywhere has their own beauty pageant. And it's taken seriously. It's not like Miss Philippines will not be mocked when she puts that on her resume. You know, I think like maybe Miss USA maybe is not taken as seriously here, but the pageant stuff is really popular in the Philippines. The Miss Universe show is still very widely watched. You know, it airs live, so the last time it was like, it aired at what, 8 o'clock in America? So it was 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning in the Philippines. People were supposed to be at working. Nope, people were watching Miss Universe pageant, stream online or on cable or whatever. And people go nuts like when the Philippines won. Like you'd think she won an Olympic gold medal. There was a parade when she went home. And just people went nuts. Alright. Should I do that? I should do that. No, I'll do that later. Alright. Talking to myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. What else? Okay, our favorite dish is adobo. It's usually pork. Pork's better. You can use chicken. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no. That's okay. And it is pork or chicken braised in, well, traditionally vinegar, salt, bay leaves, garlic. I think that's it. And then now it's more common to use soy sauce. 1, 2, oh, and black pepper. It's really delicious. It's Filipino comfort food. We used to have it at least like once a week. I don't have it as often now. I don't cook it well. My husband says my version isn't very good. And yeah, he's right. It's not. My version is not very good. I have yet to cook a version that he likes. Have yet to cook a version that's as good as my grandma's adobo, really. Isn't that the bar? If you can cook it better than grandma, then you're good. Yeah, I'm not there yet. Filipinos love food. We're just constantly eating. And it's totally acceptable to be constantly eating. Most meals have rice. If there's no rice, it's a snack. Hence, spaghetti is a snack. And we put hot dogs and banana ketchup in our spaghetti. Am I right, Elena B? Yeah, Elena B knows what's going on. If you live in California or New Jersey or Queens, oh yeah, shoot, there's like a Jollibee in Queens now. Go to Jollibee. Try the Filipino spaghetti. Let me know what you think. I like the Fiesta noodles too. That's pancit palabok. It's really good. But yeah, spaghetti has hot dogs and it's sweet. We cook it sweet and we use banana ketchup. And the deal with banana ketchup is during the war there was a shortage in tomatoes, so they used bananas instead, and it just stuck because it's delicious. So I buy bottles of that. I make sure I have at least 2 bottles because I have run out, and then sometimes it's not available at the Asian supermarket, and then I cry. What else? I also constantly eating. So there's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then there's morning snack and afternoon snack. And if you have drinks at night, then you have a snack to go with that as well. And then that's different from the little snacks that you eat while you're working. Like, you know, the little container of peanuts or popcorn or whatever. Just constantly snacking. I don't know what else. And if you have questions about anything I've yammered on about, let me know. Comments, questions, suggestions are all welcome. There are actually a lot of Filipinos in America. And it's too bad we're not as organized as like the Chinese or the Japanese. Like, a lot of big cities have a Chinatown or a Japantown or both. There's like one Filipino restaurant in New England, and they're not open every day. They're not open for dinner. They're only open for lunch. And it's like, come on, dude. And it's so far away from me. If it was closer, I'd be there more often. But if you ever want to head down to Quincy, where there's no parking, you can go to J&J and try out Filipino food there. If you are in the Bay Area, House of Sisig in Daly City is amazing. I think they have lechon on the weekends. I'm not sure, they used to. Lechon is the whole pig roasted. It's amazing. That's like quintessential Filipino party food. If you're throwing a big party, you better have lechon. Let's see what else. Oh, here's something I noticed. So children's parties in the Philippines are meant for the whole family, not just a child. So we don't do cake and cake and pizza parties. That does not exist. There's just gonna be a mountain of food, period. So imagine my surprise when my kid was invited to a birthday party here in America at Chuck E. Cheese. The party was at noon. They invited like 60 people or whatever. And they had like, I don't know, 6 pizzas or something. And cake. And I'm like, what the heck is this? Your party is at lunch and you're not gonna serve lunch. Like, no. 1 slice of Chuck E. Cheese pizza is not lunch. It was not enough for my then, how old was she, 7-year-old. It certainly was not enough for me. I wish if I had known that, I would have eaten first before going there. But that was just so strange. Like, what the heck? Like, obviously I wasn't expecting her to have like a crazy spread like Filipinos would do. But like, seriously? Your party's at lunch. Serve lunch. That said, I have never thrown a party for my kids because parties are expensive. And I would want to feed my guests and not do this cake and pizza thing. So I don't know. That's weird. What else can I talk about? Oh yeah, I read about this a couple of days ago. You know that English word, boonies? They live out in the boonies. They're out in the boondocks. Yeah, you know that word? That's originally a Filipino word. Bundok. B-U-N-D-O-K. Which means mountain. It was picked up by American soldiers during the war. And of course, none of them bothered to learn the correct pronunciation. And they brought it back to America and started using it as slang here. But yeah. Boonies. Boondocks. Bundok. What else? Alright, a lot of Filipinos can speak English, even basic. Hi, hello, how are you kind of thing. Not everybody's fluent, but you can get around. There are many dialects. It's like almost every province, every island has their own little language, but most people speak Tagalog. And we learn English in school. 1, 2, 3, 4. So like math is in English. Alright, here, let me show you how I start again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Start in the middle. Leave a tail. First leg down. hug. Alright. And there you go. And yeah, I left the tail from the end of my last thread there. I will deal with that later. This way I don't have to stop stitching. Alright, I think that is it for today. Let me know what you think. I had fun. Did you have fun? Next week is Christmas. I'm going to talk about Filipino Christmas traditions, I think. That would be fun. I mean, I'm fascinated by how other countries, other cultures celebrate whatever they're celebrating. I am loving the delicious Hanukkah videos. And yeah. So I'll talk about Christmas traditions, Filipino Christmas traditions next time. So until then, I will see you next week. Happy stitching. Stitch all the things. If you want to work on Matter's Choice, by Carriage House Samplings. There's a sale on Instagram. I will not be creating a Facebook group, so unless McKenna or Trisha want to do that, that's up to them. Hashtag Matter's Choice Sal. Hashtag Carriage House Samplings. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye!